Number 19, the function y equals 100 plus 799 times x minus 26 can be used to determine the cost in dollars y for v bucks of x number of coins. What is the rate of change of the cost in dollars with respect to the number of coins? So that is a lot of words for basically just saying the rate of change. Remember, that means slope. All right, so that's a big word problem, and all it wants you to do is find the slope. Well, I have to work this little function out and get everything situated, so I'm going to have to use the distributive property. Remember, distributive property or distribution means just multiplying everything on the inside by whatever's on the outside of the parentheses. So I'm going to end up with y equals 100 plus 799x minus 799 times 626, that is 50.0174. We can combine like terms. I can do that real quick. So 100 minus, let me do that in my calculator, minus 50.0174. And I end up with y equals, and I'll rearrange a little bit, 799x plus 49.98, 26. So that is my function. It asked me for the rate of change, which means my slope is 799. Okay, that's number 19. Number 20, it says graph the solution set for y is less than or equal to 3 halves x plus 9. Always start with your y-intercept. Our y-intercept here is positive 9. And then our slope is going to be 3 over 2. So I want to go up and over, but I'm out of room. So I have to go down 3, down 1, 2, 3 over 2, down 1, 2, 3 over 2, down 1, 2, 3 over 2. And I'll keep going until I run out of room. I think that's all I can fit here. So I'll grab a ruler, connect my line. And thankfully, before I drew it, I realized that this is a solid line. Because remember this symbol right here? That means it's going to be a solid line shaded below. And it's shaded below because this is a less than or equal to. All right, so I'm going to shade everything below with a highlighter that I have. All right, everything below is a solution to this inequality. Number 21, the table shows the playing time in minutes of high definition videos and the file size of these videos in megabytes. So it says which equation in slope-intercept models the same situation. So we need to work this problem out. We need to figure out what the slope is and what the y-intercept would be, if there is one. Okay. So let's figure out what the slope is. Choose any 2 points. I'm going to choose 2 and 5 just because they're whole numbers and they're positive. I don't have to deal with any decimals. So remember, our slope is going to be our change in y over the change in x. Change in y from 240 to 600. I know that that is going up 360, okay, 360. And then from 2 to 5, that is going up 3. So I get 360 over 3 simplifies to 120. So I know my m is going to be 120. This m is 60, so I can cross it out. This is negative 60. This is negative 120. But I also want to show you, I know the answer is B just by process of elimination, but I want to show you that If you want to figure out what the y-intercept is, you have to look for the pattern. Now, when I say the pattern, that means I have to look by how much it's going down each time, and then I have to figure out what it would be when x, or p here, is equal to 0. So I have to notice the pattern. So if I want to go from 0.5 to 0, that means I'm going down 0.5, and I need to look at 2 to 1.5. That goes down 0.5. Well, what is the pattern? 240 goes down to 180. So it looks like for every half point it goes down, it's going down by 60 as far as the file size, okay? So I know that my point is going to be 0, and it's going to go down 60 to 0. All right, so each half of a minute, the file size is increasing by 60, so I just worked backwards to figure out 0, 0. So my B is 0. Answer is 120p would be my equation. Y equals 120p. But in this, they're notating it f of p. Remember, that's the same thing as y. Same exact thing, okay? What value of s makes the equation here true? We just have to do a little bit of algebra skills. 7.4 times 1.2. All right, I have to solve that. Just do your algebra skills there. You can also look it up on Desmos. You can look it up on Wolfram Alpha. But it's just a little bit of algebra skills. Distribute 7.4 times 1.2. And that ends up being 8.88 s minus 7.4 times 6. We'll type that into our calculator. And I get 44.4. Negative 9.4 plus 3.88 s. Combine your like terms, okay? So minus 3.88 s. 3.88s, and I end up with 5s minus 44.4 equals negative 9.4. Add 44.4, and I end up with 5s equals negative 9.4 plus 44.4 is just 35. Divide both sides by 5, and I end up with s is equal to 7. Number 23, create the graph that best represents the equation y equals 5x plus 4. I think on your final they give you options and you have to choose the correct graph that matches. So we'll start with our y-intercept, positive 4. Our y-intercept is positive 4, and then our slope is 5. So I'm going to go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. And to create some more points on the line, I'll go down 5, left 1, down 5, left 1, connect my line, and I'm done. All right. Number 24. This is evaluating expressions. What that means, to find f of 3 means to plug in a 3 anytime you see x. So f of 3 is equal to 5, 2 minus 3. I'm just plugging in the x. All right, x, all I did was replace it with a 3. That's all. I can plug that into a calculator, or I can do it by hand. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. So f of 3 is negative 5. All right. Find y given that x is negative 3. So this one's a little bit different. So I'm going to plug in x is negative 3. But remember, y is the same thing as f of x. So y is equal to the same thing, 5 times 2 minus negative 3. I just replaced the x with a negative 3. That's all. 5, 2 plus 3 is 5. So y is going to be 25. All right, find the dependent value. Remember, that's just the y value if the independent value is 5. So same kind of thing. I need to find y if x is equal to 5. So I'll do f of 5 equals 5 times 2 minus 5. All I'm doing is I'm plugging in whatever number they're telling me to plug in to our function. I'm plugging in a 5 where there was an x, okay? That's all I'm doing. 5 times 2 minus 5, that's negative 3. So f of 5 is going to be negative 15. All right, next problem. Lucy pays $224 in advance on her account at the health club. Each time she visits the club, $7 is deducted from the account. So she starts off with $224 in her account. And each time she visits, it costs her $7. They're using X for their variables. So she starts with $224. Each time she goes, which would be X amount of times, they're subtracting $7 from it until she runs out. So this is option D. We've done that problem before. All right, number 26, all you have to do is solve for it. I'm just going to tell you that the X value is negative 3.7. I'm not going to waste too much time on that because I did one just like it on the previous page. Number 27, domain and range. So remember, domain is the values that go from the left to the right. So I'm going to start here for my domain. And I'm doing a dotted line on purpose because I have an open circle there. Okay, so I know I'm looking for X values. On my left side, I have negative 3. On my right side, I have a solid line of positive 1. So X is somewhere in between negative 3 and positive 1. It goes from left to right from those values. I'm going to have a less than symbol here because of the open circle. And I'm going to have a closed circle here, which means less than or equal to 1. X is somewhere in between negative 3, but it can't be negative 3, all the way up to positive 1, where it can be equal to 1. Range, let me find a different pen color. That's our up and down. All right, our up and down, I'll do it in red. This is a closed circle, so I'll do a solid line here. Solid line. This one will be dotted because I have an open circle here. Right? It's going to be very similar to our domain, except we're talking about y values. We've got an upper boundary. That means it goes all the way up to 0 down to negative 4. So it goes from 0 to negative 4. All right, so it goes from negative 4. It's a closed circle at negative 4. And then it goes up to 0, where it's an open circle. So that's my domain and my range. All right. Next one, in order to become a member of the FIFA 20 Elite Club, there's a $20 startup fee. That's some important information. And a $5 monthly fee. So it sounds like it's going to be $20 plus $5. C, I guess, is the number that they want to use. So cost is going to be $20 plus 5 times n number of months. So we'll say C is equal to 5n plus 20. Okay. Write an equation in 2 different ways to represent the cost for being a member for 3 months. So they're saying for 3 months, how much is it going to cost? We could say C equals $20 plus 5 times 3. Right? That's one way to write it. And we can keep solving for it and say 20 plus 5 times 3, well, that's 20 plus 15. So C is equal to 35. That's 2 different ways to write it. Okay, see you in class or on the next video. I'm running out of time. It gives me 15 minutes.